Good evening. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time. Appreciate you coming out. First of all, for all the athletes here, please give a round of applause for your parents, because trust me, you're not here without them. And there is a lot more going on to that than you possibly could know. What we do is science, psychology, and data. We use science instead of tradition. We use psychology instead of theory. We use data instead of hunches to redefine the youth and high school sports experience. My background, I'm a recruited Division I athlete. I went to Clarkson College, where I was only able to play one game. I had 2 concussions in a week that ended my career. They were my 7th and 8th. I'm the youngest coach in the history of high school hockey here in Rochester. I just got back from the athletic director's meeting in Saratoga Springs, where I spoke. Before that, I was on Long Island, where I was the closing speaker for USA Hockey's Level 4 coaching certification weekend. I was on the #1 sports talk radio station in Canada, WFAN, in 40 cities around the country. What has happened with youth and high school sports is injuries have mounted to almost an epidemic proportion. $1.25 billion was spent last year on overuse injuries. $1.25 billion. So, we work with some of the top doctors in the country, the president of the American Academy of Pediatrics, Mike Maloney, a very well-known surgeon here in town. And we have developed a program and a different path. And it involves the parents, and involves the players, and in some degree it involves the coaches. But tonight we're going to concentrate on the parents and the players. It's great that you had these people get Division I scholarships. It's outstanding. But the data says 1% of all the children that go to college play at the Division I level. And only half of that 1% play for free. The average Division I scholarship is $10,780 a year. There are 77 times more non-athletic scholarships. 77 times more. When I get called in to speak all over, they ask me, what should my son or daughter specialize in? I say the library. This lady is now the coach at Keokuk College. She's from Rochester. She was a Division I lacrosse player.
I think that helps as far as scholarship goes too. It adds to your head in the end. And so, you know, for me it was very important. That was cool. So, I think we have a university conference.
Microphone's loud, but the speakers.
So, what I say to the students and the parents, go to your AP teacher in your high school. Send them an email. How many of their children in AP got a scholarship? And you will find that the data, you will find that it shows that way more get non-athletic scholarship. When I was being recruited, I was recruited by 4 different colleges to play Division I hockey. My son, who's now at Fisher, was a soccer player in high school, decided not to play. Got 17 times more with his offer than I did from any of my colleges. So there is data based for academic excellence. What she told you on that is that that's exactly what she used to get her Division I scholarship. Now I hear a lot with scouts, recruiting services, about this is the way to go. Come join us. Well, here's another piece of data. 80% of all the kids that go to college go within 3 hours of their home. 3 hours. As a college coach, I can tell you I looked at 1,000 players a year. I also scouted part-time, not a lot, for 3 different NHL teams. If you're good enough, we will find you. It's our job. 80% of a college coach's job is recruiting. So in that context, we like our jobs, we want to keep our jobs, but we also have in college what's called an academic index. That is the amount of our players and how far they go towards their degree. So you can't just come and be one and done in a lot of Division I schools in terms of their academic index. I'm going to explain to you a little bit later about one and done. So, the idea of Division I. It circulates, I hear it a lot, so I use this story. I'm kind of old. Back in my day, there was a woman called Farrah Fawcett. Any of the men? Yeah, they don't want to admit what their wives are here. I get it. So now I'm in a school. I get brought in and I speak at schools. I speak at colleges, the Rotary, USA Hockey, lacrosse. So I'm called into a school and I happen to have the best athlete in the school there. 6'2", 210 pounds. So I said to him, here's the whole Division I paradigm wrapped up. There's a girl named Megan Fox now, who all the boys like. For girls, you can use Channing Tatum. Did I get that right? So I went around the room and I said to each one of the players in that gym class, Megan Fox said to tell your friend that he was cute. Megan Fox saw him on Facebook, and I went around the entire room. And the last boy, I said, Megan Fox said, why don't you come out to LA and see me? So he went out to LA, he knocked on the door, Megan Fox's house, and Megan Fox said, who are you? That's the Division I paradigm that you face. But the real problem there becomes when you come home and you haven't got that Division I scholarship, and I hear, I've been injured, it wasn't my turn, the coach wasn't fair, I was the last cut. Somebody made the team. But what happens is that failure is a reminder by everyone who said that you could play that sport. And I'm hugely competitive. Believe in it, it builds character. But the other example, the other end of it is in the psychology part, is if you're always stressing over something, it's very difficult to play or be your best. What do you do for a living, sir? Carpenter. So, you're building a house. Would you want the homeowner to be barking at you the whole time?
No.
Would it affect your job?
Could be.
Okay, now I'm going to show parents, this is what happens with the children. We got a bunch of athletes here, right? Okay? With the athletes in the back here, what I want you to do on 3 is say your name and your sport. That's it. Okay? Just say your name and your sport. One, 2, 3, go. Okay, I'm with your athletic director now. See the boy in the middle in the gray sweater? What sport does he play?
I can't tell from here.
Okay, so the parents, when you're yelling at that kid, in psychology we call it bottlenecking, they can't hear it. They make 2 to 3 decisions a second. If you let them go and be creative, that's when they will do and perform their best. I also get this, I love my children, so I let them play year-round. I love ice cream. I know, I really love ice cream. There's a local custard in town that I actually have them listed with their phone numbers and rated. And when my friends come into town, they actually email me for which one's the freshest, and yes, it is Charlotte. I hear survival of the fittest. Well, if you have a background and you know what that means, it is not what people are telling you it means. Survival of the fittest means survival of an entire species. An entire species, not one player. And fittest, those that can adapt. So, what is being told to you over and over again by people that make money, a lot of money doing this is the new paradigm. Well, actually, it's not. So now I'm going to ask a question to everybody in the audience. How many people believe in entitlement? I like this crowd. All right. So if you don't believe in entitlement, then you should believe in competition. How many people believe in competition? All right. Now we're getting somewhere. So, people say you should specialize in a sport. 2 to 8 times more injuries. 2 to 8 times more injuries. And James Andrews, the most famous sports orthopedic surgeon in the world, says health is the number one thing for a child's progress through each level of sports. 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and 20. It is not your skill. It is not your size. It is not your speed. It's your health. So the number one important thing should be to stay healthy. Just because you specialize doesn't mean you're special. Let me explain that to you more clearly. If you go to the doctors with your child, and if I know now what I knew then about amoxicillin, I'd bought the stuff by the drum, and your child has a cold, and he or she then has to take the amoxicillin, you don't go to a specialist. You go home, you take the medicine. So what has happened, there becomes a value on our children's athletic ability, and there is not. People again talk about specialization to me over and over again. Famous study in college. Gentleman took his pottery class, split it in half. All the people on this side only got to make one pot. All these kids on this side made pots through the whole semester. These people should make a better pot. They only had to make one pot. Didn't happen. Didn't happen. How many people have bought a car? Would you go to a lot with 5 cars, or do you want to go a lot with 100 cars? Okay. So, the more you have a base, the more you get to choose from, the more competitive it can be. Because sometimes in pay-for-play sports, with these club sports, is that there is no reason for you to pass the ball, your child to pass the ball to anybody else. We have these 5 people right here. All their children play soccer for lacrosse. We'll use lacrosse because we're in the spring. Why should her son play defense? Why should her daughter play defense if his son and daughter, every time they score, get more playing time? And if you don't think that happens, I've been to over 1,000 games. This is what I do full time. I've been doing it for the last 20 years. I just put a name to it and wrote a book about it. Now I know these are things and you're saying, oh my gosh, I don't agree with this guy. I got to tune him out. But I give each one of you my word. In this spring semester, in this spring sport, if you listen to what I say with an open mind, at least one thing that I've said up here will come true. And it should change the way you address sports. Because sports are really, truly about life skills. This is from a Division I lacrosse player, starting lacrosse player at University of North Carolina. They actually hurt your development because that was not relevant at all to what you were going to do when you got to that next level. Is that a correct statement?
That's exactly right. Because a lot of things, when you get to that level, you get these habits in high school. It's just everything is so easy. It works every time, but that's not going to work for the next level.
There's 3 things you can do in college, ladies and gentlemen. 3 things. 1, you can party and have fun. 2, you can play your sport. 3, you can go to class. I stand here telling you I tried all 3, that doesn't work. The idea that what you're doing here is automatically going to be transferred to that next level is simply not true, because only 1% of all the kids that go to college play at the Division I level. That's it. And when you see these signings, and I'm thrilled that the kids are getting money for playing athletics, but when you see these signings, and I'm embedded in 2 of the top lacrosse programs in the country, each team has 35 kids. Only 2 kids on each team have full rides. That's it. And that is not the exception. See, it's not my job to decide when, if, or how the light goes on. My job is to just keep flipping the switch. So what has happened now in this ever-escalating youth sports and high school sports experience, where we start to throw dollars at the problem, like the government, there has to be a differentiation between goals and dreams. And it's the parents' jobs. I cringe every time I watch the League World Series and I see the parent with the kid's name and it says team and the sun underneath it. I hear people say, we got cut from a high school team. I hear people say, we paid this amount. I paid this amount, therefore I can do this. So here I am saying all these things and it goes, oh my gosh, he must be absolutely upset about something. No, because I'm going to tell you right now, the more relaxed you are, the less pressured you are, the better you can play. And I was a college hockey coach for 21 years. We graduated 31 doctors and lawyers and 24 engineers. I thought that's how we kept score. The championships are nice, but I will tell you this. When my players come back to visit, They never talk about the championships. They only talk about the journey. So for the adults here, everybody says you got to play on one team year round. Not everybody. I hear this mantra over and over again. So you're in high school and you're a club and you got to play in this team and over again. So I want to ask the adults, the parents right now, please tell me, we're going to teach these kids life skills. How many of you work with someone or many people that you were with in high school? Look around. One. So the life skills is diversification that we need to teach the children. Different people, different experiences. The entirety of that journey for the child, that balance, is what then helps them to be a better athlete. When I was getting recruited, again, yes, it was back in the dark ages, but I couldn't imagine any of the colleges telling me that I couldn't play baseball in the spring. So you have growth plates. And absence does make the heart grow fonder. The body needs rest. This is how important rest is. The Olympic Committee in Colorado Springs just changed the way they have their athletes sleep at night. Pillow top mattresses, lowered the temperature in the rooms, painted the walls different, changed the curtains to dark. Found out that it releases a natural HGH hormone. Then they can quantify that the athletes played better. So I can tell you right now, we have data that says unequivocally, you can get better at your sport by not playing it. You can get better at your sport by not playing it. That's how important rest is. We just interviewed Rick Gotkin at Mercyhurst College. He gives his players Monday off now. In my 21 years as a college coach, we never practiced on Monday. Always had Sunday and Monday. When I was a high school coach, we never practiced the day after a game on the ice. We played basketball, we played soccer, we played floor hockey, we played volleyball, but we didn't play hockey. How many people have left a loved one or had a friend move away, and after they came back, you were very excited to see them? These aren't trick questions. Absence does make the heart grow fonder. If you need to play one sport year-round to get good at it, why were 98% of the 2010 Olympians multi-sport athletes? The number one prospect in the entire baseball minor league is a two-sport star. 4 quarterbacks in the AFC Championship and the NFC Championship. All 4 quarterbacks played baseball. 3 out of the 4 were drafted. So I do get the discussion that says, well, yeah, but they're different. They can afford to do that. No, that's part of the development. That helps them. This is a pitcher, AGR Pitcher of the Year, Player of the Year. Pitches for the Washington Nationals.
Help you.
Minor league system.
They keep you active. You learn how to work with the team in different ways. You learn how to, you're not always the best at everything you do in sports, so I think it helps you, it humbles you in some instances.
Okay, let's get back to competition. We say with our children we need a lot of structure. We've got to have all this structure. So we're going to do this. We're going to take the boys lacrosse team, and we're going to put them on the end line by the goal. And at center field, I'm going to put 2 sheet pizzas. Just going to blow a whistle and let them go. Does anybody need structure for them to be competitive? No. And by the way, one of them probably won't get any pizza. He will have not failed. He just decided not to. That internal mechanism is the only thing that will drive him to get that pizza the next time. Now, of course, his mother and father said that I put him on the outside, put someone too big next to him, I put the pizza up too high, and it was over on the other side, and he couldn't get to it, but that's another story. So, we're going to do a pickup game. What sport do you play? Did you play sports? Swimming. Need a team sport. Played sports? Cross country. Need a team sport. Cheerleading. I'm 0 for 4. It's like I'm dating again. Team sport. Team sport. Basketball. Shoo. I'm running out of room. He and I are playing on a pickup basketball game. 5-on-5. Half court. He's up 15 points in the first 3 minutes. He comes to me at center court and he says, VJ, why don't I give you Dave and Donnie, and why don't you give me Eddie and Joey? And what is the very next thing he says?
Start over.
Start over. See, because it's not the score. They want fair competition. That's why when you go to some elite team and you go to Virginia, like I did with my son, and that's where the light went on for me, and you're winning 4-0, that's not competition. So it's not the eliteness, it's the competition. So I get to Virginia. 600 kids playing in this showcase tournament that I have to go to. And by the way, let's be clear, I'd already drank the Kool-Aid. Matter of fact, not only did I drink the Kool-Aid, I was ordering pitchers. My son was the youngest on the team. He was the most consistent, and the coach, who is now at UConn, said that he thought he had a bright future. No, he didn't. So I'm there, and I look around, and I go, oh my gosh. There's 600 kids. So I started counting and going to every one of the games. And out of those 600 kids, I saw 3 that could play at the Division I level, and yes, I am qualified to do that. That was it. So if you go to our website, there's a chart that can show exactly how much you pay when you go on one of these trips. The average cost to a parent per hour for their child to play is $232 an hour. It's a lot of money. So I want to leave you with this because it's my favorite story, and I hope you've learned a little something, and if you're upset with me, I understand completely. Actually, I'm going to leave you with 2 things. The first thing is I give a free book away to anybody in my talks who can tell me how to win. And I've yet to get a book away. John Calipari coached at Kentucky, won a national championship 2 years ago. Last year he didn't even make the playoffs. Am I to assume he forgot how to win? Nick Saban went to Miami, couldn't win. Am I to believe that 30,000 feet over Tuscaloosa, by the way, I submit nobody learns anything 30,000 feet over Tuscaloosa, that he remembered how to win? And my favorite team, the Buffalo Bills. I know, it's like 90% scar tissue. I go back to Albert DeBinion and Jack Kemp, Cookie Gilchrist. Am I to believe Jim Kelly, Bill Poland, and Marv Levy won through an entire season, got to the Super Bowl, and then forgot? Am I to believe they got there the next year and the same thing happened? And then another year? And that's why when you head to these elite teams because they win, it's about competition. And the closer that competition is, the better it is for the children. And every team has a parent who thinks they're entitled to yell instructions, who thinks they're entitled to say things. If you look around in your team and you don't see that parent, it might just be you. So I'm going to leave you with this story. Little Molly's 10 years old. Her 2 older brothers have just gone through elite soccer, 14 and 16. So she's got a good handle on it. She goes up to the coach right before the first game. He's setting up the cones, and she tugs on his shirt and says, "Coach, center mid." And the coach says, "Molly, I'll get to you." So he sets up, and he's getting the players ready, and they're doing their drills. And Molly, is only a 10-year-old girl can do, walks right up to him, tugs on his shirt this time, and a little louder says, "Coach, center mid." The coach says, "Molly, just wait a second." They're all ready for the starting lineup, and this time Molly walks right up in front of him. And there's nothing cuter than a little 10-year-old girl with big blue eyes looking up at the coach. And the coach is a great guy, so he gets down on one knee, and he says, "Molly, please tell me why you have to play center mid." And as only a 10-year-old girl could do, she looks him right in the eye and she says, well, Coach, it's like this. You're on one side of the field. My dad's on the other side of the field. Center mid's as far away as I can get from both of you. Thank you very much.